Hi everybody, Emily Kincaid. All the votes are tallied and I am officially the Democratic nominee for State Representative, House District 20, and because this is not a normal campaign, I did not get to give a normal campaign speech at the end of Election Day, and so I wanted to take some time here to thank all of the people who are involved and have been involved in this campaign and got us to where we are. Because this is not, my name may have been on the ballot, but this is ultimately a group victory. This was a people-powered campaign, and so I really want to talk about the people who powered it. As you can tell, I've got a pretty thick stack of cards for of everyone who I would like to thank, and so let's get started on just acknowledging those people. So first and foremost, I have to thank my campaign manager, Skylar Schaefer. Without him and his support throughout this campaign, through the additional 5 weeks of campaigning, we would not have achieved this. He was an incredible support through the stressful times. He is incredibly good at what he does. I appreciate so much that he was willing to forego taking a job with a presidential campaign and take a risk on running a campaign for state representative, for challenger against a 10-year incumbent. So I think that it's a great loss to everybody, because he's trying to get out now of campaign work, out of the rat race of managing campaigns. It's to every challenger, I think, detriment that he potentially is not going to be running campaigns anymore, because we certainly wouldn't be here without him. I would like to thank my field director, Kenny Riley, who came down to run field for me all the way from New York via Iowa. He did field work for Pete Buttigieg's campaign out in Iowa, and so I am grateful that he was willing to come to Pittsburgh and work on a state representative race. He brought a lot of energy and fun to the campaign, so I appreciate it. And I wish him the best of luck as he enters graduate school at Pitt, whenever classes actually resume. And I want to thank all of our incredible interns. This is a state representative race, as you're well aware, but normally these kinds of more local races don't necessarily attract the interest and excitement of students, and especially in a presidential year, to attract these just outstandingly talented young people who invested their time and their talents in our race. I'm just so grateful for that. So, Mars Talumis, Christian Resch, Maya DeMello, Keira Bailey, Kritika Banerjee, Dylan Shapiro, and Ava Roberts. We had seven interns that worked just so hard for us, even after the internship technically ended, because the race was extended by 5 weeks, and so classes were done, and yet they still showed up and worked all day on election day, and so I'm really incredibly grateful to you guys for that. All right, for the people who and the companies that helped us out throughout the campaign. If you liked any of our graphics on our Facebook page or Instagram page or Twitter, thank you to Jenna Henry and Renegade Organizing for doing that. Thank you to Matt Merriman Preston, who was an invaluable wealth of just wisdom and advice as we were getting into this. Perpetual Fortitude for helping me to launch my campaign, Red Horse Media for our just out of this world amazing mail program and digital advertising program, Gwen Schrader for making my campaign launch video, and Zach Williams and Anthem Video for making our most recent campaign video. So if you have any interest in running for office, all of these folks are and companies are incredibly talented and will absolutely do right by you if you ever want to run for office. To our super volunteers who worked incredibly hard from minute one on this campaign when they were introduced to the campaign. Sean Zemenkowski, Pam Monk, who ran our postcarding campaign, Laura Horowitz, who entered data for us, Tom Ogden, who really was just, captain of Polish Hill and, reached out constantly to his neighbors to talk about the campaign. Bob Creo, who was probably one of my very first, most enthusiastic supporters and really just did a lot of work to introduce me to people and help me make connections as I was starting off the campaign. Ed Bates, who's been my friend for over a decade now, and was just, this wonderful cheerleader throughout the campaign. Danielle Graham Robinson and Ray Robinson, who, were, again, wonderful cheerleaders, really great, digital advocates for the campaign. And, before everything got shut down, door knocking and just really helping out in kind of every way. Rachel James, who allowed me to repeatedly go and take pictures at her house for various campaign related materials and video and whatnot. So, and just the, incredible investments she's made in the campaign. And Jenny Stallnacher, who, really did a great job of, talking to her neighbors and connecting me with folks that she knew who might be interested in volunteering on the campaign. So thank you to our super volunteers. It's just absolutely incredible. And if we're going to talk about super volunteers, we need to talk about the most super volunteer that has ever existed, Buzz Wilson. This man has the kind of energy that I only wish that I had, and he's about 30 years older than I am. He's incredible, and he knocked thousands of doors, made thousands of phone calls just on his own. He without him, we certainly would not be where we are. Buzz definitely was everywhere. He's incredibly enthusiastic. And he was that person who also, because of his connections and having, worked on his son Bobby Wilson's campaign and Mayor Peduto's campaign in the past, Tom Miklow's campaign, knows a ton of people, and so it was really great in making connections for me as well. Sarah Siegel, Nat Yap, Marie Norman, and all of the Order of the Phoenix volunteers who not just spent their time, but also their treasure to really, make sure that this campaign was a success. So I appreciate you guys so much for, investing in this campaign and getting excited about it and making sure that we got off with a bang. We had our first canvass in January, and it was largely because of the driving force that is these volunteers to make sure that, we actually got off on the right foot. So I really appreciate you guys. Marcus Reed, the president of the Northview Heights Tenants Association, who has been just this incredible advocate for his community. And making sure that elected leaders don't forget about Northview Heights. And to that extent, reaching out to me and inviting me to come up and really just talking to his neighbors and his friends in the community about me and about the race and letting them know that they have the option of having a state representative who's actually going to care about Northview Heights and show up there. And be, willing and available to help out. Thank you to Jill Clary and Leanne Younger and all of the 11 ACDC members who voted for me in the endorsement, and the ones who weren't available to vote for me, but still supported me and actually gave me the time of day. I think you guys are really the future of the endorsement or of the Allegheny County Democratic Committee, and you are the people who want to see us be real champions of democratic values and not just gatekeepers of the old guard. So thank you. I want to thank the people who endorsed me, who really took not just a risk personally, but also professionally. So first and foremost, Bobby Wilson, who literally just got off of running his own campaign and turned around and took the structure that he had built up and helped me to build my own. And Bethany Hallam and Liv Bennett, who also just got off of running their incredible progressive races and said, you know what, I'm not going to just run this race and do achieve this thing for me. I'm going to help other progressive candidates win as well, because we need to build a coalition. We need to continue to build the movement. I want to thank Lisa Middleman and Erica Strasburger also for, they're not even in my district, but they recognize that there are, that we need to build the momentum and we need to keep going. And so I want to take all of that and I want to help other progressive candidates just like you all have helped me. I want to thank Tom Michelow, who ran for this seat in 2014, and Mike Devine, who ran for this seat in 2018, for investing in this campaign and really supporting me and helping out in all kinds of ways. I also want to thank my cat Malcolm, who is right now meowing like crazy and wants attention, and so I want to thank him for his patience as I talk about all of these incredible people who really invested in the campaign. But thank you to Tom, thank you to Mike. Special shout out to Mike, who actually DJ'd at a poll for us on election day in Lawrenceville to keep the energy up. So I really appreciate you. I really want to thank SEIU PA State Council. Without you guys, this absolutely would not have happened. You invested not just an incredible amount of dollars from your members, but also really got your members out to vote and got them volunteering on the campaign. And that is really what makes SEIU such an incredibly special labor union. They don't just support candidates who support their values. They do it in a way that really pushes the ball forward. And I mean, this is a union that represents our frontline workers. So without SEIU, we wouldn't have the incredible people, and we wouldn't be able to protect the incredible people that are putting their lives on the line in the middle of a pandemic to make sure that you have the social services that you need and the health care that you need, and that the buildings are maintained. So I really appreciate SEIU and taking this incredible risk on behalf of their members for me. I also want to thank Unite PAC and the Women for the Future PAC for investing in this campaign, Conservation Voters of Pennsylvania, and Planned Parenthood, in particular the Western Pennsylvania Board of Planned Parenthood, for really seeing a candidate to be proud of and invest in. I want to thank Run for Something and Democracy for America and Working Families Party, Young Democrats of Allegheny County, the Gertrude Stein Political Club, Stonewall Democrats, Sunrise Movement Pittsburgh, People for the American Way, Food and Water Action, the Women Under 40 PAC, and the Progressive Campaign Change Committee for recognizing that District 20 has the potential to have real progressive change brought to it because of this campaign, and I appreciate that. I want to thank Don Mahaney, who was an enthusiastic supporter. He's also the owner of Scratch in Troy Hill, and Scratch provided lunches for our Election Day volunteers, so thank you. I want to thank Ricky Clinton, also known as DJ Jibo, for providing incredible tunes on the north side. And really keeping the energy up. We had voters who literally called this soul nourishing, and that it was the best election day that they had ever been to, despite the fact that we all had to wear masks and there's a pandemic ongoing. People were energized and because election day should be a celebration of democracy. It shouldn't be, a stoic and stressful time. So thank you to Jibo. For that. I also want to thank Etna Print Circus. This is a locally owned, queer-owned business that made our Election Day t-shirts. And it was something that we sort of thought of at the last minute, and they turned around our order very quickly with no headaches, no hassle. So thank you guys. Thank you for that. I want to thank my Pitt Law family for being early and enthusiastic supporters. I want to thank the New Leaders Council, my NLC family, for listening to my crazy dream about running for office and not saying, oh, that's nice, but being like, I want to know how it is that I can help you, and actually following through on that. So thank you guys, and thank you for all of the emotional support you've provided. I want to thank Democracy Matters, that got me really invested in politics, and in particular campaign finance reform and gerrymandering reform. I always say Democracy Matters derailed my life plan, so I literally would not be here without Democracy Matters and Joan Mandel and Adana Foyle, and so thank you, and thank you to Jake Miller and John Latini, who were my mentors in Democracy Matters in college. Thank you to the world's best campaign treasurer, James Baker, my best friend from law school. Thank you to my ever-present cheerleader, Jake George, who was my campaign committee chair. Thank you to my boss, Ephraim Grail of the Grail Law Firm, and my colleague, Brian Bevan, who really were excited from minute one of this campaign to see me succeed and willing to adapt in whatever way necessary to make sure that could happen. Thank you to Judge Michael Wojcik, who took a chance on a 3L with a lot of passion and not a lot of experience, and who, he hired me on as his term clerk, and so it gave me this just absolutely incredible and unique experience of, one, what a boss should be, and two, the intricacies of the Commonwealth Court, which I can now take all that experience and help people in Harrisburg. So thank you for your investment in me. And speaking of investment in me, thank you to my family. Thank you to my dad and my mom and my sister, Amanda, my dad, Kevin, my mom, Sue, for believing in my crazy dream and helping me in whatever way they could. Thank you to my college mom, Mary Helen, and John and Chrissy, for driving all the way out from Bloomsburg, Pennsylvania to come to my kickoff, and my godson Liam. And thank you to my nephews, Harrison and Nathan, for always being entertaining and dropping in on me periodically via Alexa during the pandemic to entertain me. I also want to take a minute to acknowledge my friend Mike, who is not here and therefore could not participate in the election, but he's somebody who always believed that I could achieve anything, and I know that if he could have been here, he would have been so incredibly excited about this. So I really want to thank him for always believing that I could do anything that I set my mind to. And thank you to all the donors, all of the volunteers, and all of the voters of District 20 who believe that we can achieve change, because ultimately that's what we need. Right now is when the real hard work begins. We are going to be recovering from a pandemic and the accompanying shutdown, and that is going to be hard work. It's going to be even harder because what we need to do is invest in our social safety net and our social programs at a time when Republicans are going to use this to argue for more of a for cutting and trimming and divesting in our government services. We are at the precipice in our society of determining whether or not we as a society actually truly believe that Black lives matter the same as every other life, and whether or not our criminal justice system can ever be reformed to acknowledge that every life matters equally. We need deep investments in reform, and we need to heal our nation. And that starts with leaders who will work with their communities in order to find solutions and to ensure that we are moving forward to a future that actually supports and protects everyone. So I look forward to working with my communities, to working with you, and to making sure that we have a future that's equal and fair for everyone. So thank you all.